The Lab 41 digital funnel, the Lab 41 growth series. This is a video that's going to look at the application of our system in a particular niche or industry. We expect you've actually watched our other videos explaining how the funnel works, what are the various steps. This is a brief summary of how we would apply it. So we're going to go through it quite quickly. And in this case, we're going to be looking at a financial institution who wants to reach business to business in a new country. So let's pretend they're based in one country and they want to reach a whole new market. And how would our system apply in that scenario? So the first thing to remember is that a lot of the finance industry is belly-to-belly business. The financial advisor needs to know the providers. They need to know they can pick up the phone if there's a problem. There's a massive level of trust that takes place before they are going to put their clients' money into a structure provided by that financial institution. Now, there are two ways to get them to sell more. The first way is to increase their commissions, which means you're going to get some unscrupulous providers who are literally just going to sell your product or your financial product to as many people as they can to get as much commission as possible, because they don't really care what happens to the client in the long run. That's not an approach that we like. The second approach is that they fully understand your product and they understand the pros and the cons and the perfect application of your product. In other words, which clients it would suit, and the value proposition that you've got is fantastic. What does your product cost? What is the benefit to the client? And the financial advisor then understands all of that and can recommend it to a client, knowing that they're going to keep the client for many years. I.e., what you've got in the tin is amazing, and the financial advisor knows that. Now, the problem with number two is that you need to communicate how it works, where it works, what are the costs, what are the benefits. So as you can see, that's a long education process for the financial advisor who's got a lot of products on their books. So it's important that they understand your product. And so we've got to look at a long-term education flow here. So what that means is we're going to sell to the financial advisors, and we're going to use educate, sell by education. Now remember, a financial advisor doesn't buy a product or recommend a product or service. They are buying or recommending an outcome. The client's got a tax problem, going to pay high taxes. That's the before state. After using a product, the taxes are going to come down, or they're going to get more returns. They're going to get a percentage growth each year with a low risk, and their money's going to grow, and that's the after state. And that's what the client's buying, and that's what the financial advisor is selling. Now remember that the greater the gap between these states, the before and after, i.e. if you can get 20% return year on year with no risk, you can charge more for your product. And how do we increase that gap? We do that through communication. And so that's what this flow is going to do. Now, most financial advisors, most financial institutions approach the financial advisor. They fly into the country, they take them out for dinner or take them out for a drink, and they present their product. Financial advisor hears it, thinks that's fantastic, doesn't fully understand it. The service provider leaves, and 2 or 3 days later, another service provider walks into the office, wines and dines that financial advisor, and sells them and tries to promote their product. Guess what's happened? That first advisor's been forgotten. They have lost that touch point. Now, and that's going to happen week in, week out, and eventually it's quite difficult to build that trust and get your product to the forefront of that financial advisor's thinking or recommendation. He will only sell it if he knows it and understands it, and is comfortable with you and knows you've got the good service level. So, with no further ado, let's continue. Now, what we want to do is, let's say you reach out to a new financial advisor. They're going to hit your website, right? And let's have a look at some interesting stats. 97% of your website's visitors will leave, never to return. Exactly same for the true of the IFAs who visit your company site. Basically, they're not ready to make a decision today. They've heard about your company. They might not have a client just exactly with your product that's required. Remember, they don't fully understand your product yet. It's very new. They barely know your company. You're in a new country. So they're going to hit that site and they're not really going to take too much action. Now, let's look at a very powerful industry stat, not financial, across the board. Most sales are made between the 5th and 12th contact. This means that it takes between 5 and 12 touches or interactions with that advisor before they're going to recommend your product. Now, remember, the bigger your product or the more complicated or the more expensive, the more interactions are required. And most financial products generally are around the 10th interaction. Now, that applies between the advisor and the client, and it applies between the advisor and the financial institution. So you need to make sure you're in touch with that advisor at least 10 times. Now, remember that most website visitors hit the website and never return, and that's pretty much what happens in the financial advice industry. Let's look at another scenario. So before we look at another scenario, let's look at the first scenario. You fly into a country, you meet the advisor, you leave, you send them maybe an email a week or two later, you're in another country, that advisor's busy, they're trying to make sales, they've got all these new product providers pushing them, and you're just one voice in the crowd. Let's take a slightly different approach. Let's look at your existing approach. Your existing approach says send the advisor to the website. 97% of the website visitors will leave, never to return. So 1 out of 3 will take action. The same is true with your financial advisor. Let's change that slightly and apply our digital funnel. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce something called a first trust offer. And what that is, it's something of great value for the financial advisor, who will then interact with your product, and they'll go, that's something I want. Previously, they hit your website and they want to find out a little bit more information about you. And remember, it's a generic website. You're targeting everybody, so it's not very bespoke. And let's look at a first trust offer. A first trust offer looks a little bit more complicated, but what it is you're offering them something to download that they can use. Let's give 2 examples. Let's say you're in one of the Channel Island jurisdictions, and the advisor can choose. Remember, they're in another country. They can choose Guernsey, the Isle of Man, or they can choose Jersey. And financial advisors are busy people. They're maybe not understanding the intricacies of each jurisdiction. So the first trust offer could be a downloadable guide, a quick overview of Guernsey, Jersey, and the Isle of Man. And that trust offer can be something they can show their clients. It could be a fantastic infographic showing the pros and cons of each jurisdiction, the strengths and weaknesses, and it might not even have your logo on it. It doesn't, you're not trying to build that brand yet. What you're trying to do is give them something of value so that they know you're there to add value. Now they're going to show that to their clients. They might just use it for themselves. They might use it in the office for training, but remember that you're the source of it and they know that. A second idea for a first trust offer would be an interactive video. So let's pretend that video, maybe it's 90 seconds or however long, it's very professionally done, and it goes through the different jurisdictions. The Isle of Man, what are the pros, what are the cons? Looks at Jersey, what are the pros, what are the cons? It looks at Guernsey, what are the pros, what are the cons? And remember, that video then the financial advisor can send on to their client. They can email it to their client. It's not a salesy video. You're not pushing a product. It's very neutral. It's just pure value add. Remember, you are educating at this point. So what does that mean? Now, if you look at a standard stat, 30% conversion rate if you use a squeeze page. Now, squeeze page is a page that's optimized to capture a name and an email, and you're driving the financial advisors there. So if you look at that, you'll see 30% will give you a name and an email. So you're going to open a conversation with them. This means you can email them some stuff. We're going to go into a little bit more detail about that. But right now, you've got a name and an email, and they've consumed something of your one of your products and become more educated. Now, remember that we said 97% of visitors leave a website, but if you've got a good squeeze page, only 70% will leave without taking action, i.e. they didn't want to get that freebie that you offered. We're going to introduce something called remarketing. It's an incredibly powerful tool. We are going to drive targeted ads at those people who left, those financial advisors, and only those financial advisors who didn't take up the offer or download the guide and give your name and email with ads. And those ads will change. Week 1 will be one set of ads. Week 2 will be a different ad. We're talking Facebook, Twitter, Google, all kinds of platforms. In fact, all over the internet. When they go onto the Financial Times, there will be your advert driving them to this trust offer, saying, have you downloaded this amazing overview of Guernsey, or have you seen this groundbreaking video explaining Jersey, Guernsey, the Channel Islands? And they're going to come back. In fact, stats indicate that around 26% of visitors will return. Now, something you need to know is that when they return, it's the second or third time they're seeing this page. It could even be the fourth or fifth, depending on how well the ads are working. and that's going to increase the conversion rate of that page from 30% probably to around 45%. It takes the existing conversion rate and increases it by 150%. So you're going to get around, in the case of 100 visitors, you're going to get 10 extra, giving you a 33% boost. That's the first trust offer. It's massive. Let's give you another example. Let's pretend that you've got a video there, 90 seconds, animated, is brilliant, and the advisors go, this is fantastic to explain to my clients why the difference between the Channel Islands. They email that video to their clients, right? Notice what's happened. We track that. And now not only are we remarketing to the financial advisors, we are remarketing to their clients, which means that their clients will go, oh, why aren't we using this financial institution? I've seen them all over the web. Now let's look at the second example. What we're going to do with it is we're going to take these financial advisors who've consumed this first trust offer, and we're going to slowly bring them to a second trust offer. Right? Remember, the goal of this is to move people from being prospects to buyers. In this case, financial advisors who know about your product but have never used it. Now, remember, we talked about the number of sales and the contact points. And so this second trust offer is something where the financial advisor needs to almost pull the trigger and make a decision. So let's say your product costs whatever it costs, X, Y, Z, for the financial advisor, and they earn a commission on that. I would say for the first time they send you a piece of business, so a new financial advisor's never used your company, they don't know your systems, they don't know, they don't trust you. Right now, they've only got your first trust offer. Why not offer them the entire fee for the first one they offer as a full commission? So they are earning double on the first sale. What this does is it incentivizes them to use your product. So if you're selling financial service, remember that in all likelihood they have got multiple clients. Let's say that financial advisor has 100 clients, and on the first client they earn double. Now they've got 50 to 100 other clients they can send your way. So the second trust offer, its only goal is to take that financial advisor from being a prospect to moving them to becoming a buyer. And how you do that is offering them a massive incentive. It's almost a no-brainer where they say, you know what, let's try this out. Now they test your system, they see how well it works, they get money in their bank account, they see a happy client, and now they are buyers, which means the door is open and you're going to keep them for a very long time. Right, don't want to spend too long on the second trust offer. Remember, if they don't take you up on that, we've got ways to push and funnel them further, but let's continue and look at the digital funnel in its entirety. Right, so let's look over there. The first trust offer is that video that you send detailing the different jurisdictions and the pros and cons of each, or it's a download, or it's an infographic. The second trust offer is the financial advisor on his first client, he earns 100% of the fee, right? Making him very, very tempted to try you out because he goes, you know what, I've got the choice between 3 or 4 financial institutions, this one company on this, if I send them this deal, they're going to pay me double. Let me earn some money in my pocket. And you have now got them as a client. The core offer, well, that's your core offer. That's all your different products. And a profit maximizer are all your add-ons. Now, let's talk on the left how we do this. Lead nurturing, you'll see what that is. Remember that in the first trust offer, you have got a name and an email, and you are going to send them an automated series of emails. And those emails have one goal only, to educate and build trust. They are not sales. So jump across to the right, you'll see a website article series. Let's say this is on your website. Notice I've detailed that it's on your website. They're going to read about an overview of each jurisdiction. You're not selling, you're educating. Then the next week, they're going to get an article about an infographic of the pros and cons versus each jurisdiction. They can email that to their clients. They might find that very useful. Week 3, you show them the different products available in the jurisdictions because each jurisdiction is slightly different. Then week 4 would be an email about the infographic of the products, i.e. something that shows pros and cons. And week 5, you look at some common problems or common misunderstandings of a product. Week 6, you're looking at benefits of your product. Week 7, you look at a case study of showing how your product helps somebody. Now, remember, the financial advisor is going to go, that's exactly how my situation, I've got 100 clients. This is exactly what would apply to 20 or 30 of them. Really, I need to know more about this product. It's fantastic. Week 8, we look at some success stories, and week 9, we go into some details about your product. Now, remember, if your financial advisor at this point has gone through all 9 or 10 articles, they have been educated. Remember, we said 5 to 12 touch points before they pull the trigger? Well, here we are. We're 10 touch points down. And now you're offering them a second trust offer, which means they earn the full commission on the first client. It's just irresistible. Now, let's look at that remarketing over there. Right, the remarketing is what we're looking at. And if you notice, we're going to look at the urgency. So let's come down to, let's continue with moving them from the downloading the video, watching the video, sending it to their customers, to actually becoming a client. On the right, you will see remarketing. Those are ads across Google, Facebook, Twitter, Financial Times, Business Day, wherever. And it's going to drive them to the article. So financial advisors downloaded your guide, or one of their clients has watched your video, that free video we talked about. And when they go into the Financial Times or even their local newspaper, they're going to see an article about an overview of the Channel Islands. Now remember, they've been talking with a financial advisor about various products in the Channel Islands or your jurisdiction, and they see this article about it. Now the client's going to click on it. The financial advisor is going to click on it. Remember, it's not salesy. It's not like, hey, buy my product. It's, have you seen this great overview of the Channel Islands? You're going to have a very high click-through rate. Week 2, it's a different ad. Week 3, it's a different ad. And you might take them through an ad to each one of the 9 articles. And that's that remarketing. It is so powerful. As I say, if you're getting a 26% return rate of people to that offer, add that in with the email sequence happening on the left, and we have got an incredible conversion rate. Remember, that remarketing conversion rate is 150%, the original rate. Let me jump back a little step, a little trick that I wanted to show with, mention to you. That first trust offer, you see that prospects, that section there? That's for financial advisors and clients who don't know your company. Now, on the right, you'll see remarketing. Now, let's say you've got an article in the BBC, an article on Financial Advisor, and an article in the Financial Times. We can push this remarketing out for 60 days or 90 days. And in week 1, we take them to an article where you're featured in the BBC. Week 2, we take them to an article in the Financial Advisor, Financial Times, or the Financial Advisor. So after 3 or 4 weeks, both the financial advisor's clients and the financial advisor has seen you in some top financial journals. There's a lot of trust built. They go, jeepers, these guys are everywhere. Remember, they've never heard of you before, and suddenly they've seen you in the BBC, they've seen you in the Financial Times, they've seen you in the International Advisor, they've seen you on Facebook, Twitter. When they're browsing their local paper, they get, not reading it, but the digital version, they're getting ads driving them to all these places where you have a presence. And the touch points, remember the 5 to 12, we have long exceeded that. They're going to come back and they're getting driven to that free trust offer, that infographic, that great guide, that summary, that download, that video. They're going to take action. Right, then you've got the whole push to push them down to clients. You've talked about that. And let's talk a little bit about taking that second trust offer to the core offer. And that's through lead nurturing. Look at the article series on the right. Number 1, it's just educating your financial advisors. And let's say you haven't even gone to see them yet. Now, you might fly out to that country, and let's say this whole process, let's say it takes 90 days. Remember that this is automated. Once it's in place, everybody gets the same treatment. You don't have to go back. You don't have to add emails. You don't have to message them, phone them. You know that whoever's seen your website, all they have to do is view your website, and they are going to get this powerful funnel pushed. They're going to be pushed through this funnel. And let's say after 90 days, you want to do a roadshow to that particular country and you want to go visit the financial advisors. They are going to be a lot more open to having a conversation with you. And when you do your presentation, they're going to know who you are because they've seen you in the BBC, they've seen you in the International Advisor, they've seen you in the Financial Times. They know each jurisdiction, they know the pros and cons, they know your product, they know where your product applies, they know the value of your product, they know the pros and the cons of your product, when it's best used and for what clients. Their clients have seen this. They have seen their clients have seen your company in the BBC, in the International Advisor. Basically, whoever has seen your website or been shown that first trust offer is going to get pushed into this funnel. And their clients, the financial advisor's clients, are going to be saying, hey, I want to use this company. What do you know about them? And they're educated, and it just makes everything so much easier. Profit maximizers, when they're put into one product, and let's say you've got, a lot of institutions have 5 or 6 products, you're going to be educating the financial advisor about the different products as well as the clients, because remember, they are getting remarketed, they're getting those ads, they're getting those emails coming in, and they are getting pushed into the profit maximizer. Right, so quick summary. Let me talk about what we did. We introduced something of value for free, something that they can use, something that's non-salesy. We drove people further down the funnel using an automated email sequence, using some very cutting-edge advertising technology on all the various platforms, and we pushed them down that funnel. And you'll notice there's two little things, there are two columns, urgency and urgency. What that does, urgency is a catalyst. It makes people take action. A good example is Groupon. They're the best at it. They say there's a limited time. So for example, the way you write those emails, the way you write those ads, you add urgency and it's a catalyst, so it makes them perform much better, just in case you're wondering what that is. Now, the next thing you're wondering is, how do we fill this funnel? Now, remember that in your previous example, most website visitors will never return. So no matter how much work you're doing, you're going on road shows, you're visiting, you're doing ads, you are sending flyers, you're emailing people, they're hitting your website and they're not really taking action. There we go, they are bouncing. You see that big red arrow? That's what's happening. Now, when you start hitting people on your website, you're getting this massive funnel applied to them. So it's so much easier. And there are so many tools to use. We can use some very clever emails. We can use some LinkedIn tools. We can do some targeted ads at them. We can do some direct outreach. You know, imagine a financial advisor receives an email or even an ad. It says, and you know that they're interested in the Channel Islands. Have you seen this epic video overview, giving an overview of the jurisdictions? Use this to sell to. Use this to help you sell to help your clients understand what you do or understand your product. An amazing free resource. Or this is a free resource that your competitors have been using with great effect to get more clients. Now, you get an email like that, or a financial advisor gets an email like that, they'll open it, they'll watch the video, and as soon as they've done that, they are going to experience this funnel. On LinkedIn, we've got tools where you can visit IFAs. It automatically visits all the IFAs, and there's a strike rate there depending on how you do your profile. It's around 10%. They will see, hey, somebody's viewed my profile. 10% of people will go, who's viewed my profile? And look at your profile. And if at the top of your profile you've got a very powerful call to action there that says, check out this awesome video I recently found overviewing each jurisdiction. I've been using it to get way more clients. They're going to click on that link, view the video, and guess what? They're going to now receive the ads, the remarketing, and they are going to find themselves drawn down this funnel. Think of it as an incredibly strong magnet. It just pulls them down through the funnel, through the first, second trust offer, core offer. And the way I see it is that it's not easy to do. This funnel is tricky, it's detailed, it's complicated. You refine it, you improve it. However, every single person who sees your website for the next 5 or 10 years is going to experience this. And if this brings you, I don't know, an extra 5 customers a month, depending on your product and how many people you drive or how big your outreach, or even 10 new customers that you didn't have, just work out the lifetime value. If you keep a customer, most financial institutions keep a customer for around 20 years, they're earning at least $1,000 to $2,000. That's $40,000 per customer. You get 5 new customers. That's $200,000 or pounds or whatever you're dealing with per month extra by putting in this funnel. And it just sits there. It's automated. You don't have to do anything except tweak and improve it. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the ads, so week 1 you improve, you test 5 different ads and you find out which one works the best. Week 2 you test those ads, and over time this just gets so sharp and it works incredibly well. And that's the application of the Lab 41 growth system, or the digital sales funnel, in a financial intermediary niche. Hope you found this useful. If you've got questions, feel free to reach out, ask ahead. There'll be a link to our website. Just send us an email. We'd love to chat. We're very careful who we do this for. We only take on a few clients, but we've given you enough information so you can go and do this yourself. And as I say, it's quite detailed. We're happy to help out where we can, and hopefully this added some value, and we look forward to opening a conversation with you.